So yeah, it
We
was
have,
not. Based on going through very quickly some of the responses I got. It was not the 100% thumbs up as like the last whatever it is 4 shows have been, or almost 100%. Like I think there was one where there's like one thumbs in the middle or something. But there was definite more negativity towards this one. I didn't get the impression it was mostly negative. I got the impression it was mostly strongly positive, but it was not like a unanimous feeling when it was over. So and when I was watching the show, I mean, there was good and bad. I felt that they're getting a little overbooking, I think is probably the term. Like there's stuff that's really good and they go a little further with it that made it not. It almost took away from things. I think that there's an attempt to be more creative. That's maybe not necessarily a strong thing.
well, I can tell you that from looking at the feedback after the show, I think the big point of negativity was the booking leading into the main event. Although the actual main event itself, I mean,
They did a good job.
They did a very good match. By the end, the place was going crazy. I mean, really, what the angle was. I mean, I got problems with the angle. I think everybody did, but I think that the
the thing was, it was I think there's two aspects. I figured that they would pay off almost exactly like they did. It was very WWE, which isn't a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. But I think that I think that people who didn't know that they would pay it off the way it did and not have, and they weren't going to have the match, or that Adam Cole was going to have the match. I think there was that feeling of negativity for hours leading up to it that didn't need to be there. And
yes, there were certainly a lot of people that thought that MJF was not going to wrestle in the main event. I did not think for 1 second he wasn't coming out for the main event.
I didn't either. I mean, I without knowing anything, because I didn't know what they were going to do, it was exactly what I thought that would happen. And
yes.
I was sure that they would do the match. I was shocked that they did a 30-minute match out of it. But I thought that what they didn't, I thought the match itself was great. I think that there's the negativity from people who thought that they buried Jay White. Look, the guy was in a 30-minute.
The guy wasn't buried. And really, the whole point of the angle, say whatever you will about the angle, okay? But the point of it was they wanted to put doubt in your head that MJF was going to win the match.
Yes,
and obviously they did, because they had enough doubt in people's mind that they thought that MJF wasn't even wrestling in the main event, which of course he was. So that was the point of the deal. Let's start at the beginning, because
the thing about that is that I think that by doing it the way they did, they caused negativity of people through the show, and it really was throughout the entire show, from the beginning, from when they did that angle on the pre-show, all the way until Max returns. People were in their heads already going like, "This sucks, bait and switch." They spent a month building up this main event, and now we're not even going to get it. And there's, you know what I mean? And then the inconsistency thing of like, if you don't, if he doesn't show up and it's a forfeit, it's like Jay gets the title when they've done interim champions every time a guy gets hurt. So it's like they didn't even follow their own rule set. And I think that it's like, and the whole thing is like, they could have done the attack without the ambulance and without that, and had him come out and defended hurt and done the exact same match, and nobody would have been, I don't say nobody would have been negative, but I think people would have been far less negative by doing the ambulance thing, and the Adam Cole is going to wrestle. You just created negativity. I understand the storyline in the end, sitting in the room as they're all discussing, they're going like, "Don't worry, we're paying it off the right way at the end, and Max is even winning at the end, so everyone's going to be happy." But the point is they put people through, essentially 3.5 hours of negativity on the show, with that negative feeling on the show that they didn't need. And I think that some people didn't overcome that negativity, because in the end, the babyface wins, so all is okay. And other people did probably go, well, in the end, we got a 30-minute match between the two, and the babyface won, and it was really a hell of a match. So I think that like you could have done it in a way where people weren't grouchy, and if that's even the right word, where people weren't negative for 3 hours and just enjoying this. Is going to be a great show and everything. And okay, Max is going to come in the main event and he's going to sell, but that's okay. We know we're getting the match.
So then the main event of the pre-show was MJF and Samoa Joe versus the Guns for the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. And, of course, they set this up at the end of Rampage on Friday night. So Joe comes out as his partner, and he basically, Joe ran wild at the beginning. He's the one that made the big comeback at the end. MJF did a lot of selling in the match. And finally, the heels hit the 310 to Yuma on Joe. MJF broke it up. Heels took out MJF. They go for it again, and suddenly Adam Cole's music hits. And he comes out on the ramp on crutches, which allows Joe to put Colton in the choke for the submission. So Joe and MJF retain the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. MJF gives Cole this big hug, gets back in the ring, has a stare down with Samoa Joe. They shake hands, and the story is that if MJF retains, Samoa Joe is next in line for the title. So afterwards, the Guns jump MJF. They're stomping a mud hole in him. Adam Cole can't do anything because he's on crutches. So Austin smashes MJF's leg with chair shots. They wrap it around his ankle. They Pillmanize the ankle and knee. And they play it up like it's a very serious injury. They stretcher him out. They take him all the way to the ambulance. MJF screams, "Adam, don't let them take my championship, please." And Adam says, "I promise I won't let them take it." And so they go off the air, and they come onto the air for the pay-per-view, with the announcers basically saying, "We have no idea what's going on with MJF. We don't know the stat of his leg. Soon as we know more, we will let you know." So that was the main event of the pre-show. Match was fine.
So from the start of the show, you're essentially led in. Later in the show, they actually made the announcement that it's, Jay White against Adam Cole for the championship, and they went with that for pretty much all night.
So they do the match, and MJF is selling his leg. Adam Cole's out there, and first the Guns keep interfering, so the referee ejects them, and they did not come back right in front of the referee this time, although they did sneak in later when the ref was down. But of course, he just, they keep working over the leg, and finally MJF starts making this big comeback, and they end up outside. And MJF rakes his eyes, gives him a DDT on the floor, and he goes to put him on the announce table, and the table just collapsed.
I know, and then he's standing
up there. And these fans love tables. And so he essentially had two choices. He could throw this guy's ass in the ring and just keep going, or he could just do the damn spot anyway. And this wild man climbed up to the top of the post and did a flying elbow from the top of the post to the floor because the table had broken. So that was completely nuts.
With nothing to break the fall, and it's like
nothing.
It's like, what a number that's going to do on your hip. I mean, man, I was when he went up there, it was kind of like, you climb up this cliff or something, and then you look down, and it's like, it's too high. What the fuck do I do? And there's all these people watching, and you can't climb down. And it's like, when he was up there, I'm going like, like the table broke, go back down, And he just went up there, and then I mean, you knew what the spot was when he put the guy on the table and it broke. You pretty much knew the spot was he's either going to come up, but most likely it's going to be that spot where you come off the top rope and put the guy through the table, which is, an incredible high-risk spot anyway. And then the table breaks, and he did it.
So then we had another spot where he's in the ring, and he did a running cutter from the ring over the top rope to the floor outside.
That was nuts.
That was another crazy one.
I'll tell you what, for a guy who talks about safe wrestling,
he did not do safe wrestling in this match.
He did not do safe wrestling.
It was largely safe, but it was pretty, there were a couple of spots here that were, man, oh man. So then his leg goes out again, and Jay White ends up putting him in the figure 4, and Adam Cole has his shirt at ringside that Jay White ripped off and threw at him, and he's teasing, throwing it into the ring, and the fans are screaming no, and MJF gets the ropes and gets pulled back to the middle, and Adam's thinking about throwing it, and the fans are screaming, and finally MJF turns it over, And the place went crazy when he turned that thing over.
He does the reverse of the figure four.
And Jay sold it like crazy, and then he and Adam got in an argument, and Jay grabs the ROH title belt away from him and waffles MJF. And I'm not sure what the referee was doing, but somehow he didn't see this. So Jay covers him, and the crowd thought for sure it was a finish, but MJF kicks out. Then the ref takes a bump. Cole ends up putting the diamond ring on the apron. Jay yanks it away, gets the ring for himself, but MJF gets a low blow. He gets the ring. Both of the guns hit ringside. MJF KOs them, and then Jay tries the Blade Runner, but MJF knocks him out with the ring, covers him. Ref wakes up, counts the pin. And booking was like straight out of a WWE main event, but this crowd ate it up, especially the last, I'd say probably 10 minutes of this match. I mean, they were going nuts for it. So in the end, like the match was a big success. It would have been much easier just like injure the guy's leg on the pre-show, and then is he going to make it out for the main event? Or, you know, don't injure the match on the pre-show, but like when he's coming down to the ring for the main event, the guns jump him, they destroy him, they Pillmanize the leg, they get booted out, and away you go with the match. He demands to go, but he's on one leg. I just think the idea that Tony Khan said, yes, Adam Cole, you with your one leg, I give you permission to replace this other one-legged guy in this championship match tonight.
Yeah,
I struggled to suspend my disbelief on that one.
Yeah, I didn't like the Pillmanizing because everyone uses Pillmanizing for an injury. And, I mean, I didn't, you know, the basic storyline of what they did, you know, I mean, again, I've seen that a million times. And obviously you want to do it more intense because it's a pay-per-view and it's 2023. So, but I felt the Pillmanizing is going one step too far to then bring him back. But, you know, they want to go to the extreme. But like, I wouldn't have done like the Pillmanizing before the match, then have him do the match or anything like that. And, you know, there's other ways you can do it, but that is, you know, I mean, watching this, I mean, it's total Dusty Rhodes babyface Florida match. Not like he did every time, but it was something he would do, you know, once a year for a story and things like that. So it's not like this is something, you know, it's a classic thing that, you know, I mean, it's a classic thing that you do that, you know, if you study old wrestling, you know, you're going to see something like this and you can get some ideas. So that was all cool. But yeah, you know, I enjoyed the match. I thought the match was really, really good. I thought Jay White, as a worker, you know, obviously, you know, Max sold really, really well. You know, great. But I thought Jay White's ability to work the leg just really helped that match. You know, like he would do the chop block and he would do the dragon screw. And it's just like the way he did it with those little tweaks, you know, like every time Max was starting to get something going, you know, you did that. I mean, this is really well done. That's why they had such a great pop at the end. I mean, and they went 30 minutes, and a lot of people were just like 30 minutes on that leg was too much. But if it like in the Swerve match, as great as it was, it peaked 4 minutes before the finish. If that match would have ended right before Brian Cage came in, it would have been perfect. I mean, it was right there, ready. It was perfect. Once they did all the interference, it like took away from literally an all-time classic match. I thought it would have been, you know, one of the great matches that you'd remember forever. And you still may because it was so violent. But I thought that they took the edge off of it. And yeah, he got to put Nana through the table. And that, you know, Nana interfering would have been okay in putting Nana through the table. Nana broke into his house. I could see that. But the Brian Cage thing, yeah, I thought that the match like peaked 4 minutes early. And in this one, I'm watching it and, you know, it's like I'm looking at and you know, I am looking at the clock going like they're at 30 minutes. And I didn't sense the crowd dying at all. In fact, the crowd was getting stronger. I would have said like before the match, if you did this like this, I would have thought 30 minutes is too long with it. But with this crowd, and I know people who did think that. You know, go like, oh, he had the bad leg, the 30 minutes and all that. But the fact is that, you know, the crowd tells you it's good or bad in the end. And the crowd was more intense for the, you know, from that, really when they really got was that reverse of the figure four till the finish. They were really into it. So I did not think it was the show was long, but every AEW pay-per-view was long. But I really liked this match. I thought it was very, very well done. I thought both participants did a great job. It's a different match than people expected, but that's good. You know, I like a different story. You don't want every match to be just moves and near falls and everything, and every world title match it's the same, and the same as stuff that was going on the rest of the card. They did a very different match. Just there's little things there, and they're valid. It's the things that didn't work on this show was not the in-ring, but it was, except in the Tony Storm match, but it was the lack of logic in a lot of the booking. Like I said from the very start, it was a situation where if 2 or 3 people were there, maybe 2, putting this thing together, I think that it would have done a lot better than more. And because each idea, instead of enhancing, was too many ideas.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notify button, and you'll never miss a video again.